Hello. We are coming up on Purim, and very interestingly, Yom Kippur in the Torah is called Yom Kippurim, or Yom Kippurim, the day that is like Purim. Purim is on such a lofty level that Yom Kippur is compared to it. It's like almost like it. That's how holy and lofty Purim is. So I thought for this month's video, I would actually share a Yom Kippur-esque theme, and that is the theme of tshuva, the theme of returning, of repentance, you make a mistake and you improve your ways and you correct the mistake. There's a fascinating situation in the NBA right now with a fellow by the name of Meyers Leonard, who for several years was on the Portland Trail Blazers, and then he was on the Miami Heat, and I remember vividly when he played against the Nuggets, and he played very well against us, and I was never a big fan for that reason. About 2 years ago, give or take, he was gaming on Twitch, and people, could see him, play these video games, and he uttered a anti-Semitic slur. He said the K word, and immediately there was obviously a big backlash. A lot of us from the Jewish community, spoke out against this. We were very upset and hurt by it, and he made it known how sorry he was pretty instantly. And he basically described how he just was unaware of the origins of that term and how it was hurtful to a group of people like the Jewish people. I believe it was the next day he met with a local Chabad rabbi in Miami. And I believe, 2 days later, he was at said rabbi's house for a Shabbos dinner. And he spent the next year and a half, 2 years until today, basically on a tshuva campaign, on a repentance campaign, demonstrating his sorrow for the mistake he made and the hurt he caused, and trying to make it right. And he has gone on, different Jewish people's podcasts. He has run clinics for synagogues and Jewish day schools, and he's done amazing things for the local Jewish community. I actually heard him interviewed while I was running one time on a podcast. I was listening. I was so moved by his story. In the middle of my run, I started tearing up. I was so moved by it. I went on Instagram afterwards because I was so inspired by this story, and I just wrote to him how I'm a rabbi in Denver, and I for myself forgive him, and I hope only the best for him. So he actually took the time to respond, and he said that, one of the best things that came out of this was the relationship he's built with the Jewish community across the, where he lives in Miami and across the country. So he had been out of the league. After this incident, he was pretty much traded and then later cut. He was injured. And he'd been out of the league since then. And then I believe it was just yesterday, he was signed to a 10-day contract with the Milwaukee Bucks. And it's just fascinating that you go on social media, you look, and you see people's comments who don't know about this, and they make fun, they make jokes, they say how insensitive the Bucks are, but people don't know the story. They don't know anything. And it's just a lot of profound lessons here that, for one, before a person says anything, you really have to know what you're talking about. And two is there's this idea that tshuva is a real thing, that we make mistakes. Ignorance, yes, it was ignorant. It was not out of hate. It was a mistake. Ignorance is not an excuse, but he made a mistake. He owned up to it, and he's spent the last 2 years, working to educate himself and people around him, and to build a relationship with the Jewish community. And I think that's a lesson that we can all take for ourselves. That for one, if people around us make mistakes, to not be so quick to immediately just cancel them and disregard them. And if we make mistakes, to have a little compassion in ourselves and to work to improve our ways, to correct the mistake we made, to educate ourselves so that we can be better going on into the future. So as we approach Purim, a day that Yom Kippur is like, Yom Kippur is a day of repentance, of tshuva. Purim could also be a time to think about tshuva, about mistakes we made, and hopefully we can, learn from this inspiring story of Meyers Leonard. Have a beautiful Purim and a beautiful month of Adar.